All right, everybody, welcome into Average Joe's Sports Talk. We have a very special guest today. This is Mr. Xavier Curry. He is on our other YouTube channel that we have. What we're doing tonight, we're going to break down episode 1 of The Last Dance.
Last Dance.
So we found it unique that they put this out early, and I think it's very, I appreciate ESPN and Netflix, I believe, that put it out. Putting this out early because, you know, America right now, we're starving for anything. And they've been working on this documentary for years when they dive inside the Chicago Bulls' last run there in 97-98 season before they dismantled the team. We found it really unique how they're doing it, which I kind of thought they would. They're kind of doing present day and then jumping back, doing present day and then jumping back.
Quantum leap style.
Quantum leap style. And so you have to, I think that kind of keeps you engaged, but it don't have a narrator, which I do like. Don't have an over talking, talking through the whole thing. Episode 1, it was mainly about Jerry Krause and his battle with the Bulls. And I think a lot of that was fueled by the media. But we do later find out just how deep it got. We didn't see that back in the 90s when it was happening. But I think it got very heated. What was your initial thoughts of episode 1?
Wow. Just how bad it had gotten. You would think, the whole thing that blew my mind about it was the whole bringing back Phil Jackson and just telling him, hey, I don't care if you win 82 games, it's your last year. Like, you're telling the guy who's won 5 championships for you, this is it. That's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
That was not even in private. He even said that to the media. Hey, this is his last year.
Right.
I mean, there's got to be some kind of, respect factor.
It was not.
And there was none.
Oh, it was not. It was terrible. It was terrible. I've never seen anything like that. Never thought I would. That big a rift between coaches, players, and you're looking at management and ownership. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And it gotten, and I remember ESPN and other places was fueling this back in the 90s. And you actually seen when they accepted their rings, they booed Jerry Krause. And then the first mention of Phil Jackson, it was a large roar. That shows you how bad it was, kind of like us against them. Now, to Jerry Krause's credit, he did put these pieces of the puzzle together to get these guys to playing together, to get the opportunity to win 6 rings, which they ultimately did. Spoiler alert if you've been on some other planet. Sorry. If I don't know why you're watching this if you didn't know that. But at the same time, I think his ego got in the way, obviously. And and not just him, Jerry Reinsdorf was the owner at the time. He did a tremendous job putting Krause in power to do that. And Reinsdorf really was, and they didn't talk a lot about him in the first episode, but I remember in the 90s, he was making a lot of these moves. It wasn't just Jerry Krause. He was signing off on these moves and making some of these moves and vetoing some of these other moves himself. You got to give the owners props for making people like Scottie Pippen accept these weaker salaries and bringing in these pieces of puzzle and plug and play. But at the same time, it gets to a point, and we've seen episode 2 boiled over, but it gets to a point when the value is just so undeniable, you have to do something. Right. And they chose not to do it. Now, at the same time, I don't know if they have all those rings if somebody like Pippen would have stepped up in the middle of it and said, hey, I'm out of here, bro. They're not paying what they're supposed to.
No. I want to talk about something real quick. During commercial break, I actually looked up the salaries for the 97-98 season. Yeah. And we actually wrote these down. And you talked about he was the 122nd most paid player in the NBA. Well, then we unpause it from commercial break, and that's one of the first things they talk about.
That's good.
Now, the 97-98 season, which is the season we're talking about, Jordan's contract hit for that year was $33 million.
Deserved.
Ron Harper was 4.56. Tony Kukoc, 4.56. Rodman, 4.5.
Luke Longley
at 3.1. And then you have Scottie Pippen at 2.7. And was literally first or second on the rankings in everything.
6 categories.
Yeah.
What's even crazier than that, like when it went off and we kind of fast forward, when he finished his career as a Chicago Bull, maybe a spoiler alert for people who didn't know that either, he does go back and finish his career there. He got paid more money really at the end of his career than he ever had.
Right, he couldn't even hardly walk up and down the floor.
Yeah, like you give him $5 million both seasons, his last 2 seasons, but you never. I don't understand he signed a bad contract, but he was top 50.
He was voted.
Yeah,
Top
it was
50
okay.
all time.
Yeah, all the time. Now come on, you can at least.
Oh yeah.
But you know that people sign contracts, you know, and stuff like that, and it happens. But man, I can kind of see where he's coming from. Like the only way I have to battle back to show, to kind of, you know, be defiant to management is to sit back, and it was selfish to the team because y'all did develop this whole "it's us against management" thing to try to get this 6th championship. If you don't get it, then basically management is right. Let's blow it up now. Hey, see, they can't win another championship. It's time for us to blow it up. So I see that, but I think Pippen probably should have. Kind of like Jordan said it best. He should have went ahead and got the surgery. Let's go ahead and get the championship. They're not going to give you a pay raise anyway. And let's just get the 6th ring and let's go.
Now let's the draft, which has always been kind of a. We all know that he was drafted 3rd. Now, I've always noticed everybody gives Sam Bowie a hard time for being taken 2nd. We kind of leave Hakeem out of that because Hakeem lived up to expectations. But talk about the draft and how that fueled what we know as Michael Jordan today.
I think that it was. I think it was a simple fact that, like you said, you knew Hakeem. All right. Then the Sam Bowie thing. The reason that they didn't take him at number 2 was because they had Clyde. All right. So, and that's smart on Portland's part. You can't take Clyde Drexler's All-American.
I mean, hindsight 2020,
yeah.
Of course.
Well, even I'm talking about looking through it through the eyes. Then you can't turn around and draft him right behind Clyde. I mean, that's Clyde was All-American, went to the Final Four, 5 Slam Jam, and all that. They couldn't draft him, but now Sam Bowie with the blew out knees, I didn't understand that. I mean, I still don't understand that because even Sam Bowie himself said, "I don't know why they drafted him." And, he's been on record saying that.
Big man,
but him going to 3, I think it fueled him. Obviously, it fueled him because he said he wanted to be the best. The confidence level after he hit the jumper against Georgetown to win the national title is what sent him to the stratosphere, in my opinion. And it showed by him taking over the team in game number 3.
Yeah.
Also, I want to ask X something about this though. I was shocked when it showed. I didn't know that about the cocaine and all that, and the girls and stuff. Dude, the discipline that guy had to walk out of that because
as a rookie,
never been around it. But then you're like, hey, they got girls in here, they got coke, drugs, all this. For him to say, hey man, I'm putting all this aside that young. I mean, the guy was what, 19, 20?
Yeah, I mean, he would go back to his hotel room and wash dishes.
What do you think? I mean, what do you say about that? That's unbelievable.
That's a man that's focused. He was focused and he had a mission and he wanted to achieve that. And I mean, hats off to him. You know, that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do.
There was some controversy later on in his career, but it never had to do with drugs,
right?
Alcohol. He had his vices.
Spice, right?
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later. It kind of touched on it there at the end of episode 2,
right?
With Danny Ainge. Spoiler alerts. if you haven't seen Space Jam, so talk about the difference in today's game versus back then, because watching the old clips, there was one part where Jordan was going to on a fast break, and I noticed there was no 3-point line.
No.
I mean, that's crazy.
Like probably first year.
Yeah.
So
the game is more. It's not as physical as it once was. Like you'll see that. I believe we'll see that later. You're a huge Knicks fan, and you know the punishment y'all put on. Like I don't think a lot of these players now will survive in that type of game that it was then. The defense is totally different. There was no zones back then at all.
You had to play. It was called illegal defense.
Right.
You had to have everybody on that side of the court. It mandatory isolations.
Right. That's it.
And a lot of the influence that we're seeing today came from Europe. the European influence. And Bo, you talked about it while we were watching it. You got 7-footers that are shooting threes at a high rate.
Yeah.
And to Krause's credit on this, again, he went out and got Kukoc. We all know the story, how they hated him and they took it out on him. That they looked at him as like the adopted child. And you got kids at home. That's what they said out of their own, Pippen and Jordan. So when they played Croatia in the Dream Team in '92, they took it out on Pippen. I mean, on Kukoc. But at the same time, to Krause's credit, he was the first, in my opinion, stretch four. What we know as a stretch four is today. A guy, a long, rangy guy who could shoot threes, dribble, pass, and shoot, and actually stretch the defense out. Because back then, and you even seen it as this episode started, they were talking about, he can't carry them. He's not 7 foot. You know, that was the mentality of basketball back then.
The taller you were, the better you were.
But it's not like it was like the 60s anymore. Like it's crazy.
It's embedded in their head. If we don't have a big man, we're not good. Now, to touch on X's point, the illegal defense back then, they forced you in isolations, but that's also what caused all those in-lane collisions that we know from the Pistons, from the Knicks, because once you penetrated, you're fair game, and then you'd see them defenses collapse over.
They had an unwritten rule.
Oh, yeah. The Jordan rules, which we're going to talk about, is episode 3. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Everybody thinks that people didn't score back then.
Right.
You saw the score, that Bird and them is set, 137, 133. But all in all, we're about to shut this one down. I'm gonna give my final thoughts on episode 1, and then I'm gonna let X close us out. Episode 1 was a good start. I think it got the blood flowing for everybody. It got that meat and potatoes of how this all began, and I liked how they went back and seen a little character development in his career and how Jordan came about. Really excited to see inside how much push they got from Jerry Krause, and I'm really, episode 2 did deliver, but episode 1 I think it was a really good start, and I enjoyed it.
I did too. I think it was a great start to, what is it, 10 episodes?
10 episodes.
10 episodes, 2 out the way, got 8 more to go. I really enjoyed the in-depth of the chaos between the players and management. Coaches, Phil Jackson, one of the greatest coaches of all time. A lot of the backstory with Pippen was cool. I always thought it was Jordan that kind of toughened up, which it was, but it looked like Oakley did a pretty good job of it. We would have moved some furniture if he had got me. Look here, I don't care. Look, you're not gonna just slap me. No. But it was good. It was good. I really did enjoy it though, man. I look forward to seeing more. Will they get more deep in depth with Rodman? I mean, you would think,
another story.
It's a whole nother. You could do another 10 part, but it was fantastic, man. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to doing more of these and doing more reactions to them. I loved it.
If you guys have not, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the bell for the notification. We will be dropping these along with a lot more sports information, a lot of local stuff, college, high school, even some pro. You're watching Average Joe Sports Talk. Thank you.